Age and upward mobility, no. You are, in the language of the great Herman Melville, mortally interdebted, indebted to others. Beginning with your mama with 9 months, on through friends, family, before the worms get you. And you have to acknowledge that, be candid about that. And hence, I think the arts reminder. But we live in a world, of course, in which the arts are so not just marginalized, but themselves come out of sight. So all you can, somehow you can just contract the imagination. That's why our educational system in inner cities is not just wrong and unjust, it's a crime against humanity. Just had a report that came out today in New York City, right? How many schools have arts programs? Fewer and fewer and fewer. But Marcellus and myself, 25 years ago, tried to generate a learning through the arts when they eliminated all the arts programs in schools, in inner cities, not in the vanilla suburbs. You know, rich kids get taught, poor kids get tested, right?
Ooh.
Gotta be honest about that. We say, no, we don't want them just tested. We want young folk to have a certain imagination, the arts. And so we end up producing lyrically powerful expressions. You can't play the instruments. Very few of them sing in tune. And none of them can sing in harmony in a group like the Dramatics, or the Whispers, or the Main Reading, or the Emotions, or the Jones Girls, or Earth, Wind, and Fire. How come? Because it takes discipline, it takes unbelievable cultivated discipline. Young folk have the capacity to, but they think in order to make it, just use the microphone and run in your mouth. No, that's not it. My generation is connected. You may write about a car. There's no Luther Vandross without background. You don't see my music. It's called and response. Harmony, you can listen to other people's voices, the sound, the way the chanting sounds, the trumpets, the temptation sound, the dreaming, why not Mississippi and Baby Bluff? It's a tradition, we're losing the tradition. Hence the centrality of the arts and imaginations. But I'll be sure to forget.
Let's straight into Atlanta. Grappling with majority white supremacy and patriarchal culture in a city that is still birthplace documented, but in 2014, incredibly divided. Accommodation was the best African American community. How do we do that? How do we crash it down? How do we bring the New York reconciliation, liberation?
Yeah, no, appreciate the question. And I got grandson and a great-granddaughter and a son in A-Town, ATL, so it's a special place. But ATL is always a which I do with regards to the white supremacy, class division, and so on. I think in any generation, the fundamental question is always one: vision, courage, sacrifice, and determination. One doesn't know exactly what the options and alternatives are because there's always unpredictable factors in any historical moment. Nobody has full control. But it's by example. We're talking about Martin King. He could have been just another petty bourgeois Negro preacher. He refused. How come? He loved so. He chose vision, courage, sacrifice, determination. And all of the wounds and bruises and scars that go with that choice. And so when we think of Martin, he's really like us in the human sense, that he's making certain kinds of choices. And that influence on the midst of the Jim Crow scene. We got Jim Crow Jr. today. That takes still very vicious forms of white supremacy. So that the kind of thing that you're taking part of, the kind of gathering that this event constitutes, I think, is a very important element in you being the kind of example. As a human being in whatever religious, traditional, secular tradition, whatever tradition you're part of. That's the beginnings of an answer to your question. Yes.
Being under the arms, what is some of your spiritual discipline?
bet you heard him. You go 6 months. And he's an alpha brother. Just like Juwan's alpha.
Right. And
another alpha too.
yes, sir.
Lord have mercy. WB boys, Paul Rhodes, Martin Luther King Jr., Aaron Clayton, Donny Hathaway. What a group of brothers in one fraternity. So this is not the stereotypical fraternity of folk just socializing on Fridays, waking up on Saturday wondering who they are. This fraternity got a long and rich tradition. And so the spiritual disciplines for me have very much to do with prayer, trying to listen to music, but my days are very full. And so I don't get into music all the time. And with my daughter, I spend a lot of time with her, so it's, sometimes it's more Ariana Grande than it is Aretha Franklin. Intergenerational bonding, you know what I mean? Parenting and fatherhood requires some sacrifice. I mean, Ariana's all right, her generation, you know, Katy Perry, but I wouldn't call it a spiritual discipline. So in a way, it's probably prayer, and then I try to read at least 4 hours a day, 3 hours a day, no matter what. That's just, I do that for sanity. And that's like the equivalent of Coltrane's horns. He goes on for 12 hours, go to sleep with horn in his mouth and wake up blowing. That's discipline. That's taking a bit far, but that's discipline. So you got to read like 3 or 4 hours. Then it's Coltrane. But it's a soul invested practice. He doesn't have an external relation to the discipline that he's undergoing. His soul is invested in the practice. So it's a soul cultivation even as it is an attempt to cultivate his technique and his craft. The two go hand in hand. That's what it is to be a blues person. What it is to be a jazz person, no matter what color you are. And it's not a matter of blowing horns, it's a matter of a certain way of being in the world. Open, flexible, fluid, improvisation, open-minded, faculty of receptivity, always listening. No Coltrane without McCoy time would be him. He did make 1 hour with just him blowing all by himself. Right? You had Reggie working on the bass. You had Allison White on the piano too. You had Elvin Jones, Rashid Ali on the drums. Coltrane just blowing the horn all by himself. Then he was so open. What else did he do? He invited in young Turks, like Pharoah Sanders from Gut Bucket, Jim Crow, Arkansas, or the great James Cone is from. How you gonna bring in all these young Turks? Eric Dolphy, 21 years old, he can't play. He needs to undergo some serious learning. No, Coltrane said, come with me. Come on the stage. But he was, of course, started at 17 years old. Pretty sure Red Garden. That's Coltrane opens to the new, the novel, who of course will fall on their faces. So what? They got bounced back. When they had that same Coltrane. So that the spiritual disciplines go hand in hand with the enactment. What some people call performances, but performance is really reduced to entertainment and commodified culture. And performance is very important for blues versus not just entertainment. It's a matter of expressing the deepest sense of who they are, their soulfulness, the expression of love and sweetness against the backdrop of the darkness and catastrophe. August Wilson used to say for black people authorize alternative realities by means of performance. What he meant was what people who were so trapped during the 44 years of slavery, all they could do was lift their voices and preach because it was against the law to worship God without right supervision. So you had to steal away underground, and all you could do is lift your voice in the ring, shout. They had to perform. That was not entertainment, y'all. That was preserving sanity and dignity and your sense of humanity in community. Another thing Brother Joseph talked right about such as And that is a tradition, I think, that is something that all of us have to come to terms with. Why? Because we all live in a blues condition now. Ecological catastrophe and all the catastrophes I talk about affect everybody on the globe. So you either learn something from the blues tradition, or you end up locked into the dominant cycle of history, which is what? Hatred, revenge, domination, exploitation, tied to the insecurities, fears, and anxiety. That's the dominance. The blues say, let's try to create a rupture with the use of spiritual discipline, with the use of political activism, with the use of tenderness, with the use of sweetness, with the use of justice, all of it part and parcel of the tradition. And those at the top, when they see it stronger, are threatened by how you hate Martin so. It strikes you as somebody worthy of that kind of hatred. How you hate Gandhi so? Why you hate Betty Lou so? Why you hate Minty Edwards so? Why you lying on Coltrane, all the jazz, so many jazz critics? Then he gonna learn how to play the horn. He plays the horn too fast in jazz steps. It's clear he don't know what he's doing.